You think we'll smile and be friends, come to agreement and shake hands. You think we'll smile and be friends, come to agreement and shake hands.
Yeah. You don't believe what I'm saying? How am I not surprised? This Bible is not for the heathens. Nah, I ain't your God. Agreeing is not an option. And no, I don't compromise. Praying for your downfall and watching for your demise.
Loving my people, can't wait to see this kingdom fall down. Watch for the heathen, trick and deceive, you know what it's all about.
Want us to be equal, that ain't gonna happen. All of this was prophesied in the book. Why you think they keep it hidden from us?
Maybe it's cause we're the hidden ones.
Hey, shalom, sis. Shalom. What was your name, sister? I'm sorry, I was running around over there. What was your name? Natalie, Sister Natalie. All praises. So I know you kind of. Did you get your question answered about the Moors a little bit? You understand? So do you know who the Moors were? The Israelites, right? Right. I'm gonna just get a little bit of meat out of that. Just not much. I'm gonna just show you something real quick, okay?
Bring it out.
Read this from the top. Listen to this. Because where did the Moors come from, right? They didn't originate in Europe. They came from somewhere else, right?
Right, that's right.
Let me show you something.
Right.
The book From Babylon to Timbuktu by Rudolph R. Windsor, page 109. In less than 100 years, the black Arabs had pushed their way completely across North Africa.
You hear that? So the Arabs started pushing their way across North Africa, right? Which at that time, that's where the Israelites were, because we got scattered out of there. In 70 AD, they encamped around Israel, and they pushed them, 1 million black Jews out into Africa, right? Where's that at? Give me, I think it's in 89. We're gonna come right back, sis. I think it's page 90, I think. Nope, go one more to the next tab. Stay with me, Sister Natalie. Go to that highlight right there. No, it was a highlight. Keep going. Hey, what page is that where it says where it says, yes. Listen to this, sis. This is what happened to us, how we ended up in North Africa, all right, Sis Natalie?
Bring it up.
In the year 65 BC, the Roman armies under General Pompey captured Jerusalem. In 70 AD.
So you hear that? So the Romans captured Jerusalem, right? Which is where we were, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans at that time, right? And what did they do?
In 70 AD, General Vespasian and his son Titus put an end to the Jewish state.
So he ended us at this point, right? Read.
With great slaughter. During the period of the military governors of Palestine, many outrages and atrocities were committed against the residue of the people.
So the people that did remain, they were slaughtered. We were destroyed, right? So the ones that didn't flee, like it's going to tell you, those people were killed. They were totally wiped off the earth, right? Read.
During the period from Pompey to Julius, it has been estimated that over 1 million Jews.
How many Jews?
Over 1 million Jews fled into Africa.
Into Africa. So the Jews, the black people, right? These blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, they fled into Africa, right? Read.
Fleeing from Roman persecution and slavery. The slave markets were full of black Jewish slaves.
What kind of slaves?
Black Jewish slaves.
You hear that, sis? So guess where we was at? It was black slaves, black Jewish slaves in North Africa. So go back to the other side right now. Now let's see what happened when the Arabs started coming in, right? Because what happened was, we're going to show you why all this happened, right? We broke God's commandments, so he started putting that whooping on us. And he started chasing us out of the land. Watch.
The Arabs did penetrate into the interior of the... In less than 100 years, the black Arabs had pushed their way completely across North Africa in the 7th century.
So you see that? The Arabs started pushing us out. Now what nation or what religion is the Arabs? They Muslims, right? Now you're starting to see. Now we're slaves, we're on the run, so you know they's catching some of us. You better convert to our ways or you're gonna die. That's what was happening. Or you had to serve. These type of things was happening, right? So you got to understand, there was a lot of chaos going in North Africa when we was getting pushed away out of the land. Read.
In the 7th century, at this time, the Arabs were black. They had not mixed much with other people.
See that? So everybody over here is dark. That's where a lot of this confusion comes from. Okay, second Maccabees 6. Okay, I got you. Oh, I got you. All right.
The Arabs did penetrate into the interior of the Sahara Desert, but only in small numbers, so that the territory remained basically African.
Okay, now go to the highlight at this time. Did you read that?
At this time, in the land of Spain, the black Jews were persecuted, and many had fled to Morocco for refuge.
See that? So we were fleeing in Africa, right? So when you look at this map, let me pull that map up real quick. Let's see where we at. Let me see where we at. It's Africa. So you see right here, we all up in this area, right? Up in Africa, we're fleeing. Spain is right there. So we was jumping to the land right here. We trying to get into Spain. We was getting pushed out by the Arabs and everything like that, right? I'm just trying to show you where we at on the map. Go ahead.
Many had fled to Morocco for refuge. As a result of this persecution, the Jews of Morocco and the Moors planned to invade Spain with the assistance of Spanish Jews. In the meantime, the plot was uncovered, and the Jews of Spain suffered for their intentions.
All right, jump down to, go over to the next page. I was telling you. Read that top there, guys.
When many Europeans were garbed,
Right here. I'm sorry.
the Black Moors ruled over parts of Spain for more than 700 years. During this time, the Moors developed the greatest cultural civilization known anywhere in Europe.
So that's what was powerful. You going to put that down. So that's powerful. When the Israelites, who were Moor, they were either converted over, because when you look into the history, a lot of the Moors were Muslim, right? Or they were practicing Jews. And when the people that were just staying devout to the laws, they was getting pushed out the land. So you had those two factions there. You had your Islamic folks, and then you had the Jewish, right? So what happened was we got all pushed out, and that's what the Most High started doing. He started afflicting us more and more. He started pushing us out. And one of the things is our people, we like to gravitate to wherever we think greatness was at. We never come back to the Bible. You put that way. Give me a 2 Maccabees 6 and 6. We never come back to greatness. How you doing, my brother?
How you doing, brother?
Pretty good, sir. What's your name?
My name's Don, man.
Don, nice to meet you, Don.
Nice to meet you, brother.
You too, brother.
Yeah.
If you could take a second, man, I'm talking to the sister. We're going over a little history. You come in the shade, man. I know it's hot out there. You light skinned like me, man. We don't want to get hot, right? So check it out. If you look at this sign and you look at your nationality, tell me what your nationality is when you see which one you are in the parentheses. So, Sister Natalie. So, let me show you another thing that was happening to us when we had to convert. This curse keeps happening to our people. Read this.
The book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 6, verse 6. Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient feasts, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew.
Now, this is during the time of the Greek captivity. So when we ended up coming back a little bit to the land, the Greeks came and they still slaughtered. You ever heard of Alexander the Greek, or Alexander the Great is what they call him? You ever heard of him? No, you never heard of Alexander the Great? Okay, well, this guy was wicked. You heard of him? Okay. This guy, he basically took over the whole world. There was a Persian empire that was in this land, and then here comes Alexander the Great. He takes all that land, right? That's why you have all this Greek customs and things that's in the New Testament, because his people ruled that land, right? So when they came into the land of Israel, this is what they did. They said, you cannot profess yourself to be a Jew. You cannot keep the Sabbath day. You can't do any of these things, right? Read.
Neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days or ancient feasts, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew.
Jump to verse 8.
Verse 8. Moreover, there went out a decree to the neighbor cities of the heathen by the suggestion of Ptolemy against the Jews.
So a law went out against the Jews, right? This happens all the time in our history. Read.
That they should observe the same fashions and be partakers of their sacrifices.
So this same thing that was happening in Spain and everything, it happened even in this time during this period, right? This is nothing new. This thing happens all the time, and I'm going to show you why that keeps happening. But finish this out.
And whoso would not conform themselves to the manners of the Gentiles.
So if you didn't come over to the manner of the Gentiles, meaning you profane the Sabbath, meaning you don't acknowledge God, that you're Israel, you don't do these things, right? If you don't do that, what happened?
Should be put to death.
You was put to death over that. That was heavy. So a lot of our families and stuff, they started conforming. They stopped circumcising their kids. They started changing the name. They started adopting these Greek customs. Now, why did this happen? The brother was bringing out a lot of good information. We done talked a lot. Now I got to make sure you're tracking with me. Why did all this happen? Deuteronomy 28:15. Do you know why this happened to us?
Yeah, because
we revert back to that, right?
We didn't keep his laws. That's right, Prince. All praises, sis. All praises. Did you find out what your nationality was, sir?
Brother, I'm Cajun, man. I'm everything.
You Cajun. What's your father?
My father's black.
Your father. Okay, so you.
Dark black.
Okay.
My mother is
So he would be considered like an African American then?
African American.
Okay,
yeah.
all praises.
That's why I identify with it.
Okay, all praises. So same here. So that would mean you from the tribe of Judah, right? So do you know who comes from that tribe? It's the most.
A whole bunch of brothers come
A
from
whole
that tribe.
bunch of brothers, but there's one particular man that.
Moses?
Nope.
No.
I'm talking about the man that the Lord of Lords. Jesus the Christ.
Yeah.
Jesus the Christ comes from the tribe of Judah. Now hear this. I used to know that Jesus was a black man, and that's all it was. Jesus is black. I get it.
Right.
But we never put in our minds that Jesus, if he's black, he coming from black people. So who are these people in the land that say that they're Jews? Who are these people that in our land, these Israelis, these Jewish people?
Right.
They're not the people of the book. Oh, you understand what I'm saying? They aliens, that's right. They don't belong to that land.
Yep.
Get me Revelations 2 and 9. I'm going to let you hear what the Bible says about those people over there. Because probably to today, you might not have heard about people saying that they're the Jews, right? You may have, but a lot of us, you never hear about the blacks and Spanish going around the world saying we're the Israelites. This is a new thing on the earth right now. But the Bible was written way before we started doing that here. Watch what the Bible says about the Jews in that land right now.
The book of Revelation, chapter 2, verse 9. I know thy works, and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich.
So God is talking to the Israelites. He says, I know your works.
Right.
I know your tribulations and your poverty.
Teach,
But you're rich. I look around at our people, I don't feel rich, so what is he talking about? He's talking about the promises that you're supposed to get. You're going to get the kingdom of this heaven, the kingdom of heaven, the things that are promised to us, right? He says you're rich, but I know this stuff that you've gone through, this poverty, this tribulation, but you're rich because the promises pertain to you. But, read on.
And I know the blasphemy.
Do you know what a blasphemy is?
It's an insult, basically.
It's a lie. It's a big lie. It's the biggest lie of all lies, right? He says, I know the blasphemy. I know the lie. Read it again.
And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not,
They're not? Then who are they?
but are the synagogue of Satan.
They say that they're the devil that the Bible speaks of.
That's
You understand? That's not our words. Y'all heard it yourselves, right? He said that they are the devil that the Bible speaks of. Now, go to Deuteronomy 28, verse 15. I'm going to show you quickly what is happening here. Why? Because it's not all bad news, right? The great news is now we know why this happened. He know, but we got to make sure you understand. So now you know you Israel. You know you from what tribe? You from Judah, you Judah. All right, so we got two Judites here, right? And I'm going to show you that Christ comes from that later, but watch this. Go ahead.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to...
Go to verse 1. I'm going to go to Deuteronomy 1 and 1. Yes, sir. I'm going to show y'all something, just so y'all understand. Let's see who this book is written to.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 1, verse 1. These be the words which Moses spake unto all Israel.
Unto who?
All Israel.
So who are these words written to right now? He said these are the words that I spoke unto all who? Who? To us, the Israelites, right? All right. Give me 28:1. Let me listen to the words that he says to the Israelites. I'm going to show you something, sis. And what was your name again, brother? I'm sorry?
Don.
Don? Yes. Okay, brother Don and sister Natalie. Go ahead.
Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
So the Most High says, if you listen to what I say very diligently, right, and keep my commandments, read.
To observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
Did y'all hear that? He said, if you do what I say, Israel, I'm going to set you above all nations of the earth. Y'all hear that? Right. That's something that's hard for our people to really understand.
Right.
We see it on the basketball court all day. We can see we above. We jump over everybody. Right. We above in that way, but we can't understand that we're supposed to be above in them in education, in economics, in government. We don't understand that, right?
Yeah,
so,
because it's not a lot of people waking our people up.
You see us out here? That's what we're doing right now. We waking you up.
Hallelujah. Right.
Let me show you something. You know why? Hold on. You finish this out. Watch this. Go to verse 12. Let me show you an example of what that is to be above.
Verse 12. The Lord shall open unto thee his good treasure, the heaven to give the rain unto the land in his season, and to bless all the work of thine hand. And thou shalt lend unto many nations, and thou shalt not borrow.
Are we in that position right now? Are we in a position like the sister face? You're like, really? We are not lending. We have nothing to lend. In order to lend, you have to have resources. We have no resources, right? We have no banks. We have no land. We have no money. We have nothing. So guess what? We're not blessed right now as a people. So when people walk around saying, I'm blessed and highly favored, are you really? Right. Not right now, you're not. You are oppressed. That's right, sis. Now, why are we oppressed? I'm going to make sure before you walk away, you understand why that is. Read 15.
Verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
So the opposite now. If you don't listen to what I say, read.
To observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So God said, now you're going to be cursed. They're going to come and overtake you. Now let me give you a quick one. So we've been talking about Moors and all these people, how they got pushed around, right? So how did the so-called Israelites get over here on this land? Do you know? Do you remember how we got over here? Slavery. What kind of mode of transportation did we take? Boats. We took boats. Guess what? That's part of the curses. Right. Watch this. Give me 68.
Bring it out.
Verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again.
So the first time, give me I think it's Exodus 20 and 2. So we got to find out what he's talking about. He said, I'm going to bring you into Egypt again, right? The first time we were in Egypt, that meant something to our people. What were the Israelites doing back in Egypt? Do you remember?
Slaves.
They were slaves, right? We was building pyramids and cities and water ducts and all kind of stuff. We was building up all them cities. That was us, right? Read.
The book of Exodus, chapter 20, verse 2. I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt.
I have brought you out of the land of Egypt.
Out of the house of bondage.
He said, I brought you out of the house of bondage. So whenever you see Egypt in the Bible, he's always referencing it because it was a time of our slavery. It was a time of our bondage, right? So guess what? The first time we went into Egypt, Israel and Egypt are right there. We walked into the land, right? So he says, I'm going to send you back into Egypt again. Watch this.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
With what?
With ships.
Now, why do we need to take ships to the place that we walked out of? Because it ain't talking about Egypt. He's talking about slavery. Right. And I'm going to show you. Watch what else happens when we went into slavery. Watch.
By the way whereof I spake unto thee.
So the way I'm telling you is going to happen, that's how it's going to happen. That's what he's saying right there. So like other people say, oh, the Jewish people went into slavery and all that with the, what is it called? The Holocaust. How'd they get over there? Trains. They weren't no ships. Well, keep on. Right.
Thou shalt see it no more again.
Meaning when you got in these slave ships, you wasn't going to see your homeland again, which is Jerusalem. We ain't been back there since, right? Read.
And there,
when you get off them slave ships,
ye shall be sold.
You going to be what?
Sold unto your enemies.
You hear this? You say when you get off them slave ships, you're going to be sold to your enemies.
Right.
What people were sold to their enemies? Our people. Read.
For bond men.
For slave men.
And bond women.
And slave women.
Read. And no man shall buy you.
And when you look this word up, buy is meaning redeem. No man was going to redeem us. We had powerful leaders. Nat Turner, Marcus Garvey, Sojourner Truth. We've had Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. All these brothers tried. Right. A lot of them took bullets for it. They could not redeem us. Why? Because it's of the Lord. That's right. Ain't no man finna break God's law, break God's curse that he's putting on us. It's our duty, right? How long is this going to happen? Go to 46.
Deuteronomy 28, verse 46.
Read.
And they shall be upon thee for a sign.
So he said they, meaning those curses, because he's talking about the previous verses. He said they are going to be upon us for a sign. So Sister Natalie, and sorry, one more time, Brother Don. Sorry, Brother Don, what is the purpose of a sign? You first. What does a sign do for us?
It should be symbolic for what we stand for, right?
Yeah, that sign is supposed to identify something, right? It's in the indication of something, right? So he says these curses are going to be upon us for a sign. Right. Read.
And for a wonder.
Like a wonder. Like, why is it when our people get shot in the streets, if you don't got that thing videotaped at this point, you know it's a wrap for you in the courthouse. You can go vote and bring all these people in. It doesn't matter. If you do, because if you don't, it's a wrap. They're going to go with the cop every single time. You ever wonder why we keep going through that? We these greatest people on the earth, but we keep having these problems. Why? Read.
And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever.
So they're going to be upon your kids forever. So how long is that?
To death, right?
Yeah, and then how long on those kids? And then how long on their kids? So guess what? These curses ain't going nowhere.
So that's called a generational curse.
That's right, sis. You in the spirit. Yo, go ahead, brother. You got a question?
Yeah, I do have a question.
Yes, sir.
So, why the curse? Why are we cursed as people?
All praises. I like that. You know what? We ain't got to go far to answer that. I'm going to show you one more time. Get that 15.
And I'm sorry I missed it.
No. It's cool. That's why we do this. We don't have to rush through the Bible. It's a big book. It's a lot that's going on in this book. It's a history book. It's not a book of religion. This isn't a Christian book or a Catholic book or Pentecostal. This is a history book of the Israelites. Okay? Now watch this.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So you tell me why.
Okay, let's just go back a little further. Okay, so something we did is pissed off God. Okay. What is it that we did? How we pissed God off? So I'm missing this. I'm
Oh,
sorry,
no problem.
I'm
I
missing
got
it.
it.
I'm
Go to
missing it,
47. No, it's cool. He just said it.
Yeah,
Because you don't listen. But he'll even get more specific.
Okay,
Watch this.
yeah.
Go to verse 47, I believe.
Verse 47.
Now let's wrap it up with the 46 points.
Okay. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. Because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart.
So because we don't serve God with joyfulness and gladness of heart, now got to keep in mind, a lot of times we were keeping the laws in the Bible, but our spirit wasn't in the right place. We would go do sacrifices, but God would tell us when you do a sacrifice of a lamb or something, it can't have any blemish or anything like that. What we would do, we would take the most busted, disgusted lamb and we give it to him. But then we would go give our great offerings to the people that were oppressing us at that time. You understand? God was like, I hate that. I despise your sacrifices. I can't stand that. And we just did this time and time again, right? And God was like, all right, that's enough. Because when I bring that belt out, I ain't pulling back. You can cry, daddy, daddy, no, but it's happening, right? Now watch, read on.
Because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart.
Because you don't serve me with joyfulness and gladness of heart, read.
For the abundance of all things.
For all the things that you need in life, your education, your food, water, all this stuff, since you don't serve me correctly, read.
Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies.
Who?
Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies.
So now guess what? He's about to explain what that means. So you don't want to serve me, huh? You don't want to do what I'm telling you to do. All right, bet. Now you're going to have to serve your enemies. Right. And watch what he's going to tell us we got to serve. Read.
Which the Lord shall send against thee.
That's a heavy part right there. It wasn't their doing. Who sent the enemy against us? The Most High God did, right? This is already showing you that this Bible, it isn't written like the way the church teaches us. I thought God was love. This is what I was taught. But right here, this is love, all right. But it hurt. Watch this love that he shows us. You ready?
In hunger.
He said, you're going to have to serve me in hunger. So now I got to ask you. He said, I got to go to your enemies to serve me in hunger. So guess what that means? If you want to go to a grocery store, who do you got to go to? The white man, the Chinese man, everybody outside of the nation of Israel, the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you got to go outside them to get served, right? You understand? Read.
And in thirst.
There's water. These brothers walking around with water bottles. You think we own Ozarka? Do we own that? Don't pay your water bill. What happens? Your enemy going to cut that thing off because we don't own no water aquifers, nothing like that. Read. You can't even collect water. You know that? If the rain come down and catch you, I literally was paying my bill online the other day and it asked, do you collect rainwater? Why do you need to know if I collect rainwater? Because if you collect rainwater, they got a problem with that. They got a problem with that. You got to serve your enemies.
And in nakedness.
So the clothes that you wear, you got to go to your enemies to do that. Even if you, like, let's say, who's a designer, like Sean John or Sean Carter, they got their clothing lines, right? We as Israel, we don't own the materials to make the shirts. We don't own no textile mills, no cotton gins, no silk farms. We don't own that. You got to go to your enemy to get that, right? Read.
And in want of all things.
How many things?
All things.
Do you hear how heavy that is? All things. Meaning, if I didn't mention it, you still got to go to your enemy for it. You want education? You want justice? You want housing, land, anything, guess where you got to go to get it from? Your enemy. And that's how it's always going to be.
Right.
Read verse 16. These curses is heavy, man. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna
Brother
say
John.
Yeah, no, what I was going to say is, and it's kind of a stupid comment.
What you got?
How do we mitigate that? I mean, where does the mitigation come in? In other words, how do we fix this shit that we got ourselves in? Excuse my language. But,
All right, you're right, brother. How do we get up out of this? How do we get up out of this situation, right? Get me Deuteronomy chapter 10, verse 12. That's one of the greatest questions. That's one of the greatest questions.
It's been asked for a long time.
It has been. Brother, we've been trying voting. Let me tell you, I talked to a lot of brothers, right? And I got this little acronym. It's called EEHG. Why do I say that? Because most brothers say, how do we fix our problem? They'll say, we got to do economics, man. We got to buy banks. We got to do this. We got to have more businesses, things like that. That doesn't fix our problems. Then they'll say, we got to fix the education system. That's what we got to do. We got to start them young so we can get them corrected, right? That still don't fix our problem. They say healthcare. We got to get our health system better so our people can stop being sick. We got to stop paying all this money to our president.
Right.
That don't do nothing for it. They say government. They say we got to get into politics and vote. We done all these things. It does not change because you're not fixing to break the curses of God. Only unless you do it the way he tells you to do it. And I'm about to show you what that is right here. Deuteronomy chapter 10.
Deuteronomy chapter 10, verse 12. And now, Israel.
So now again, we're talking to who? The Israelites. He says, now Israel, read.
What doth the Lord thy God require of thee?
You hear that? He says, you ask, what do we got to do? You want to know what we got to do? Read.
But to fear the Lord thy God.
That's the first part right there. A lot of people don't understand what that means, to fear God. Why should you fear God? I heard you got to have respect and reverence for God. You know, you got to, no, God says, fear me. Why? Because I did this to you. Not your oppressor. I did this to you. You fear me because I don't play. That's the first thing you got to understand. If you're trying to blame, like you said, yes, if you're trying to blame the white man for your problems, brother, you missing it. You blame yourself, understanding that I broke God's commandments, and he sent that man against me. Not them coming on their own. You giving them way too much credit. He empowered them. You understand that? How can one nation take down the greatest nation in the earth?
That's right.
Unless it was by the power of the Most High God.
Right.
Read.
To fear the Lord thy God. To walk in all his ways.
And just a few of his ways, the ones that I want to keep.
In all his ways.
You got to do all his ways. Read.
And to love him. And to serve the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul. To keep the commandments of the Lord.
You have to keep God's commandments. It's not that hard.
Now they will see the treatment of God. We are not black men, we are Israelites. That's right. Take care of us. Take care of us. And our children too. And our children too. We have abandoned. We have repented. How about you? How about you? People want to know who's the king.
O nation of Israel, it's time to return to the Father. O nation of Israel, it's time to return to the Father.
Now why they trying to make it so hard to serve God? And why when I say that I'm a Jew, it sound odd? For years I've been walking around saying that I'm a black man. I ain't saying that no more, it sounds wrong, man.
This is Bishop Nathaniel of Israel United in Christ. Please subscribe to our YouTube channels. Stay up to date with our latest events, music, and classroom lessons. IUIC plans to continue visiting different countries where this gospel has not been preached before. IUIC needs your help in pushing this truth. So join us. Subscribe to our Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and podcast, and stay up to date with us. more information, please visit www.israelunite.org.